It's a new week here at the Sleepers Podcast, Monday, October 9th, coming to you live from the basement of a man whose team is 4-1 in the NFL. Carter, how are you? Did you have a great weekend, and are you having a great breakfast?
I am. I had a great weekend. I'm a fan of the best team in the NFL, and that honestly feels really, really, really good. And underrated combo, fruit and cinnamon. Cinnamon really does wonders for fruit, by the way. So if you're eating a banana today, do yourself a favor, throw some cinnamon on it.
What's the plate? What is that? Is that a banana?
Oh, yeah, it's a banana cut in half. You got a little cinnamon.
Sliced your banana?
Yeah, slice the banana in half, and then put some cinnamon, a little bit of decorative sea salt. Got a little freaky with this other one. Put a little almond butter on it with the cinnamon as well. Delicious.
Wow. Honestly, that does look fantastic. I've never thought about that combination. This is the first of your many breakfast bits that looks appetizing to me. I'm really
okay. Good start to the week.
That's pretty good. Okay. How did you cut that banana though? That's what I'm confused by. I feel like cutting a banana sideways in half would be difficult.
No, you peel the banana and then you just literally just slice it down the middle.
Yeah, how?
With a knife.
But how?
Tomorrow I will bring a banana and I will do a cutting a banana tutorial for you.
Like is the banana on a flat surface when you're cutting it, or are you holding it?
No, you're like, I'm holding the banana, and I just...
From the top? So you're holding a banana and you're cutting it from the top.
I don't like cut all the way through. I just kind of like halfway through the banana, like slice it down the middle, and then you kind of just open it up.
I am fascinated by this. I would like to see you attempt to do that. All right. Great start. Yeah, you talked about the Lions being the best team in the NFL. I'd like to press you on that a little bit. I'm also very excited about this team, but the 49ers do exist and look pretty dominant right now. The Eagles also exist, and they look pretty damn good right now.
We are better than the Eagles.
Okay. We'll talk about it. We were going to do the Lions as a topic today, but we kind of got our day blown up by some Big Ten polls that were released this morning. So this is an all Big Ten basketball episode. I think our core audience will probably enjoy this one. We have some takeaways. Two big things I pulled out from this unofficial preseason poll of 28 writers in the Big Ten that I really want to talk about. And then for our third segment, we will reveal what our votes would have been if we were big time enough to be included in these polls. So should be a fun episode, but we will, spoiler alert, we are going to talk a little Lions in our one big thing with the first ever consensus one big thing today. So if you want Lions talk, it'll be here. But let's start the episode as always with Carter Elliott's comment of the day from the YouTube channel. What do you got?
Okay, so my comment of the day comes from a comment on our Tom Izzo wants an 11-man rotation for Michigan State basketball. Flash521 said, 11 players with talent. It means intense defensive pressure on the other team. There will still be a core of players that'll be on the floor to score. If you have legitimate depth, you have to use it. Save some of our players getting in foul trouble and can wear out the other team from having the best edge at the end of the game. So this comment had me thinking, G, because I think a lot of the narrative around Tom Izzo wants to play 11 players is that's not sustainable. That's not going to work. You can't, the great teams, I think teams that win it all don't play 11 players. But I kind of like the angle that Flash is taking here because I think last season something that hurt Michigan State was the depth. And I think that, it was not having even the option of putting players in. So you were really making sure AJ Hogar was playing the whole game, Tyson Walker playing the whole game. And, luckily for them, they're in good enough shape and were able to stay healthy enough to, play those major minutes. But very long college basketball season, long, conference season, all that stuff that's going on. If you can steal some rest for your players in some games, having the ability to do that and having the depth to do that, I think will really affect this team positively. Because even last year, if you think back to the non-conference games that we should have won easily, and Tyson Walker and those guys should play 20-something minutes, we just weren't able to because we would put Pierre Brooks or Jason Wittens in, and the games would be close. Like we had ourselves like some semi dog fights against Oakland and Buffaloes of the world. So I think that if anything, before the rotation shortens, having that many players will maybe keep some other players fresher throughout the whole season.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I wouldn't say Michigan State got worn down is my only pushback here. Like if the premise is part of last year's finish to the year was that guys had too many miles on them.
Oh no, I didn't think that. I was just
okay.
just speaking.
Yeah, I just like in theory, I think you're right. Like it, but I guess that that's sort of like it kind of implies that, right? Because otherwise, if there wasn't too many miles on Tyson and AJ, then why do we even want bench minutes? Like we don't want less Tyson or AJ. We want as much Tyson and AJ as possible. So I'm not going to complain about rotations much this year. I can say that genuinely with Michigan State. I think they got a bunch of guys who deserve minutes. So like, am I really going to complain that there's a revolving door at center when there isn't a good center? No, like I might complain if he's not trying Xavier Booker there, but I don't think like choosing one center over the other is going to be a problem here. I don't think like I'm not going to be mad that Cohen Carr is getting put in the game. I'm not going to be mad that Jeremy Fears is getting put in the game, and those guys are probably the two biggest names off the bench right now, with whoever's off the bench between Malik Hall and Xavier Booker. So. Look, you got a lot of dudes that deserve minutes. You're going to get a lot of guys that are playing minutes. What I will complain about, and I will go on record with it right now, what I will complain about is if Trey Holloman is playing like 10 minutes a game. If that's happening at the expense of Jeremy Fears or anybody else in the backcourt, that's a problem. And it should be abundantly clear. I'm not saying that's going to cost you games or anything, but if you're playing bench guard minutes, those minutes should go to the guy who is worth developing, which is Jeremy Fears. So.
It's also going to cost years off my life. So let's not worry about that. That will not be good for me.
Yeah. Also, the other element of the whole Michigan State, like who are they playing this year is who are they playing this year? Like who are the opponents? They have an easier non-conference schedule than they have had in a long time. So I think you can experiment and try some random crap because outside of the Duke game, and I know Arizona is on the schedule, but like even Arizona, like they play one top 10 team this offseason. That is very rare for Michigan State. Normally they play like 4. So that's a benefit. It's a nice thing for a team that has dreams of making a Final Four and beyond.
Well, no, yeah, Baylor probably won't be top 10, right?
Baylor might not be top 25.
Really?
I mean, I think preseason they're like 20th-ish, but I think that's a lot of love just to Scott Drew. Like that team's not picked to do anything in the Big 12.
Yeah, gotcha.
We'll see. All things are lining up. Like if I'm a Michigan State fan, I'm licking my chops because everything's looking good right now. We'll see what happens. That's good. To the comments section. A lot of actually, before we do Discord comments today, can we just address a couple things that happened here? GFed, the Sleepers correspondent, comes on the show. We didn't really know what to make of it. I think we alluded to it. We're like, we're just going to try this and see what happens. We don't really know the logistics of any of this. Like, we don't know what he's doing for us, etc. But we just like the kid. We like his grind. And I think he respects us. There's a mutual respect there. So we're like, all right, maybe you'll find Sky Clark this weekend. Go to Louisville. The man spent all day with Sky Clark. Sky's posting GFed, talking about that's family. Like, I got a shout out. Sky wants us to come during basketball season now. So a very prosperous first weekend of our Sleepers correspondent GFed being on the road in Louisville. What's your evaluation? Does GFed get an A+ for his returns this week?
I don't think that he could have completed the side quest any better. I mean, we were just asking for a link up. This man was kicking it. Sky gave him a ride. All of a sudden we get a selfie and come on best show for the 502 and just, I mean, honestly, I'm excited to actually, when we do get GFed back on, ask him, because I mean, I don't know if the kid could have had a better showing in Louisville, to be honest. Like, they got the dub. He ran on the field. The City of Louisville official Twitter page tweeted at him like he's getting the key to the city. It's just an absolute special weekend for him.
Yeah, he sent us text back like, yeah, I've been with Sky the last 6 hours. Me and my girl went and kicked it with him. Okay. So I love this kid, man. I just want to, no matter what happens between GFed and Sleepers and where this goes, like, I just love this kid. I can't get enough of his content. I'm waiting for an update because he said there's going to be an update today on his channels that apparently he can't do his like NFL
Yeah,
stadium thing, which was a
I
big
saw that.
part of his content plan. I'm curious if the NFL cracked down on that or what, but man, like he might be at war with the NFL right now. At the same time, the city of Louisville just loves him. I can't wait. And shout out to Sky, man. We love Sky Clark. That it's not a bit. We do a lot of bits on this program. It is not a bit. We love Sky Clark. I would love to make it to Louisville this year and kick it with Sky. And I'm glad he got to kick it with our guy, Sleepers correspondent GFed. So great first week, GFed. We'll see where you go this week, and we'll try and get GFed back on the show at some point to talk about his plans. All right, let's go to comments in the Discord. Good betting week, by the way, with us. Do you want to address any betting results from the weekend with the newsletter? What did you go? Did you go 3-2?
I went 3-2. Yes. Wait, no, I'm sorry. I went 2-3.
Did you go 2-3? I thought it was 3-2. I was 3-2.
No.
I was hoping 6-4 combined.
No, unfortunately I got let down. Missed the cover on Colorado, obviously by 1 point. But sweet Shador showing your watch to the student section, but not covering. But yeah, just and then the Washington State UCLA game, like Washington State was just good the whole game, and they just absolutely fell apart in the fourth quarter. Gave 13 unanswered. It was just tough scenes for me. But I was able to get 2, but I was very disappointed because I came in. I told you when I put my picks in, I was like, I got 5, and like I feel great about these 5. But didn't go my way. It's all right though.
I like when you pick 5 for the record. Yeah,
I think I'm gonna try to do that going forward. Three's not. I need something that, like I said, moves the needle one way or the other. Whether it's good or bad, I need enough picks to assert my dominance and or assert my assness.
Yeah, a little bit of robbery too. You deserve both Colorado and Washington State, in my opinion. I got completely backdoored by Ohio State. That was ridiculous. Maryland the entire
that's
game.
2 straight weeks of
I've had
heartbreaking backdoors.
3 losses in the last 2 weeks of like teams that were covering the entire game, blow 20-point leads in the fourth. Just absurd. But still 3-2 for me this week, although it felt like 4-1, to be honest with you. And a couple nice parlay wins for me. Nothing I sent ahead of time to the Discord, but I had a really nice NFL touchdown parlay yesterday that came down to Christian McCaffrey, like $150 to win 2,000. So that was prosperous. And in general, jumped on some live bets on Saturday that led to a nice little sizable withdrawal for the Waddell family. Anytime you're clicking the withdraw button, that's a good thing. So
what about Mal's same game parlay hitting this weekend?
Yeah, my wife loves betting now. She put like $100 in a FanDuel account, and I mean, that's pretty, like, she's sending her bets proactively to like various group chats in our lives who are like, I don't even know what this is. So I think that's a good sign. I might have created a monster. I don't know. But in general, betting is good in the Waddell household right now. Excited for college basketball season. We get closer and closer to this. Like, there's going to be a lot of fun betting stuff to do with how much work I'm doing on the daily pick side of things that I'm excited to share with the Discord and find a way to route it through that community. And I can promise you this right now. You are going to get my A+ game this week in the Sleepers Discord for the betting newsletter. This is going to be the best, most prepared, most effort that I have ever put into a newsletter this week, because they deserve it after the last 2 weeks. I don't know if it'll be wins, losses, what. You are going to get the best product from me ahead of time this week than you have ever gotten. To the Discord where we have comments.
Wait, sorry. Before, I don't mean to complain about my picks, but damn it, Marshall, you were there. Fancher, you were there, man. You tried. I shouldn't have. You know what? I apologize. I just want to say this. I apologize for not the Washington State pick because I got it at a football number. I made a mistake. I didn't get Colorado or Marshall at a football number.
Yeah.
The 4 and the 6.5 were a little bit ambitious by me. I recognize that. Just okay. Now we can move on.
Key numbers. Look at us assessing our game, though. This is like, midweek meetings, etc. Like, we're watching the film right now. That's exactly what's happening here. And future Michigan State head coach Jake Dickert dropping the ball for you. Are you frustrated there?
Yeah, I mean, and future maybe Coach Huff as well, not being able to get the dub on the road at NC State.
Turns out if all your candidates are mediocre coaches at mediocre schools that started the year 3-0 through non-conference play, maybe that's not the right pool of candidates. Maybe shocking that we might have called this out a couple weeks ago. My guy Lance Leipold did look great though.
Yeah.
I mean, they were home underdogs.
Lance Leipold is very old.
He's pretty old, yeah.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah, I mean, he's not like I wouldn't call him a swaggy coach. I wouldn't call him a guy who's going to be there 30 years. But
but he's like 70.
Not 70.
I'm pretty sure he is.
Let's give that a Google. I don't think he's 70. Is he 70? He's 59. He's 59.
Jesus, Carter.
Yeah, I mean, you have a good 10 years minimum if you hire Land.
Okay. All right. I'm aligned.
Just saying.
To the comments.
To the comment section. So this starts from Fam33. He says, oh, wait, one last bet. I'm so sorry. Legacy play. I had a live legacy play on Thursday night that started. This is when we should have known it was going to be a good weekend. I watched the entire first quarter of Oklahoma State, Kansas State, and Oklahoma State was just dogging them. Like just winning in the trenches, wide open receivers, 8 yards every single play they wanted. Kansas State was in hell. It was a rocking night crowd at home for Oklahoma State. And the money line was still like plus 140. When I looked at it, I'm like, what is happening here? I sent it to the Discord. I said, guys, hate to do this, have to do it. This is officially a legacy play. Oklahoma State money line. If I attach the words legacy play to this, it's as confident can be. I'm willing to stake my reputation on the fact that I'm telling you to bet this play. Oklahoma State comfortably wins that game. I think a lot of people got it around plus 100 if they got it like 10 minutes after. So I felt pretty good about that. Some positive vibes heading in, and legacy plays are now 1-0 for me on the season. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. I really resisted the urge to attach more legacy plays throughout the weekend, by the way. That's how you know you can trust the legacy plays, because when I say the word legacy play, it means something. To the comments, Fam33. For transparency, I agree with Carter regarding expectations. Going with those expectations, I'm just excited for being more hopeful this team has the best chance to reach a Final Four for the first time in 5 years. He's talking about Michigan State, of course. He says, I sign up for MSU Hoops, hoping every 4 years they're one of 8 teams in the country that has the best chance to make a Final Four. Then roll the ball out and hope things break your way. I love the program and Izzo, but since Cassius left, I haven't felt that hope since then.
Pretty accurate. I will say the expectation of having like a Final Four aspirations feels good.
I can't tell you not to hope, folks. Card, are we like collectively, as the state of Michigan, collectively, are we in the healthiest sports spot that this state has ever seen?
Like just in general?
I want to talk this through real quick. Detroit Lions, Super Bowl contenders. Detroit Pistons, promising, like emerging at minimum. Like even if they're not good this year, like next year, you think
young and fun.
You think next year playoff team when you think Pistons. Tigers, I think next year playoff team. Like they got dogs, some young dogs. They have a core. I'm not gonna speak to the Wings. I don't watch hockey. I have no idea. But from what I've heard, I think the Wings are like kind of promising core. Michigan football, favorite. Michigan State basketball, favorite. Like this seems pretty healthy right now. Teams are doing what they're supposed to.
I mean, I'm all for it, but it'd be even more perfect because I'm greedy if Michigan basketball and Michigan State football could pick up a little bit of the slack. Then we could really get some state of Michigan, state of union greatness going. But I will say this: like my excitement with a lot of the sports teams right now is just like I texted you yesterday during the Lions game. I'm like, I don't know if I've ever had this much fun. Like I really love my football team. Crazy. This is amazing. Like we're fun, we're fooling, we're nasty. Like it's great.
I would also add, I think having a great NFL team is such a different fan experience than having good teams in other sports. Like I've really had a hard time processing this. Like I've never in my life, even when they were good with Stafford and Calvin, like I've never rolled out of bed, flipped on a game and been like, oh, we're definitely winning this game. And I feel that like most weeks right now. I was looking at the schedule, man. Like I'm not afraid of anybody on the schedule.
Bro, we were 9.5-point favorites yesterday, missing Amon-Ra, missing Branch, missing Gibbs, and we covered twice.
Yeah. We'll save it for the one big thing still because we're gonna work hard about it. But good Lord, man. If I gave you all those teams I just named, if I gave you over under one championship in the next 12 months, are you taking the over or the under?
Yes, over.
You think there's one in there?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I might still take the under, but I don't feel great about it. But I think I would
Really?
stack rank Michigan football and Michigan State basketball is the most likely over the Lions still.
That's what I was. I figured I'd get one of those.
Okay. All right. Fascinating. Coy says to you, he says, fun fact, Luke Goody is taller than Terrence Shannon.
That's crazy to me.
He's listed at 6'7". Coy says he thinks he's closer to 6'8". And then Coy sent a picture of somebody getting married with the whole Illinois basketball team around them in the practice gym. And Luke Goody is way taller than everybody else in this picture.
Yeah, I think it's a athletic training staff member got married and went to go take pictures of the team too. But I also remember seeing Luke Goody in the locker room when we went to Illinois. And I'm pretty sure he was shorter than me. Like I like to use myself as a measuring stick, a barometer. That's why I don't accept anything talking about Terrence Shannon 6'6". That man's not 6'6". Terrence Shannon might be 6'8".
I just am confused. Like, I'm really looking at this picture. If you're in the Discord, you can go back and look in the comments thread. But like, Luke Goody is towering over Dane Danger in this picture.
I think Luke Goody might be on his toes in that picture if you zoom in.
Angles do some weird things. Also, I just want to say
That's true.
They
Facts.
shout out to shout out to me for stopping myself from who I was about to say.
I don't even know what you were about to say.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. Yes, you do. Yeah, and it's not disrespectful to you. It's you know who I was going to say. Angles, picture angles.
Okay.
Yeah, you know. Shout out to me for stopping that. Travis Nelson says Purdue under 2.5 of the Grand Slam. The Grand Slam being Purdue winning the Big Ten regular season, winning the Big Ten tournament, Zach Edey National Player of the Year, making a Final Four. That is my barometer for them this year. I think they're going to do it. Under 2.5 to me feels like it would have to be plus money, right? I think under 2.5 would be like plus 110 here.
I mean, I think they're getting 2 guaranteed.
Right. That's why I think the under would be plus 110. Over 2.5 would be like minus 120.
Yeah, probably. I mean, Zach, National Player of the Year, I think is easy, and then they'll get a banner from either regular season or tournament.
And they would be huge favorites. Like if we get to the Big Ten tournament and Purdue has won the regular season and Edey's National Player of the Year, they're probably like minus 200 favorites to win the Big Ten tournament at that point.
Mm-hmm.
So like I feel you on this thought process, but like I think if I had to pick the over or the under, I'm hammering the over on 2.5.
I think I still take the under.
I would like to know what non-Michigan State fans would pick on over under 2.5 because
under.
What non-Michigan State fans?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I think a lot of the if you're doing the thought process out on under 2.5, it's just, well, Michigan State's going to get one of these. And if you don't believe Michigan State's going to get one, then it's Purdue, man.
Yeah. Boiler up, hammer down.
Okay. All right. Season's almost here. List guy says if a successful season for Nebraska entails not finishing last in the Big Ten, then when will they end up as the 11 seed that everyone picks to the second weekend because they shoot and are fun and then end up making a nice little run? Everyone will know that I am an oracle and the world will fall beneath my feet. Was that a prediction from Guy there? Is that a second weekend Nebraska prediction?
That's an insane prediction. That's an insane prediction to start off with too. Like we'll always look back on your first Discord prediction and think back to you saying that Nebraska's a plucky 11 seed that makes the second weekend.
Yeah, impressive. I love Guy. I really do. Guy, I'm looking forward to what you're going to bring to the table this week, Guy. Tristan Busting Brackets back in. He says, when you mentioned the Grand Slam for Purdue, I thought you were going to include winning the stacked Maui Invitational this season.
That would be crazy too. I don't know if we can count that as a banner. That's very ring. That's very Creighton-like.
Yeah, I don't care as much about the preseason stuff. There's a lot of preseason tomfoolery happening, though, right now. Like, our Creighton is out here with Elite Eight rings. We have Tyler Kolek from Marquette posing as if he's the baddest MFer in sports history with trophies around him. When, at least they actually won some Big East stuff. But, still, man, you got packed up in the round of 32. What are we doing here?
I still want to know who sent that tweet from Field 68. Was it you?
No. Listen, man, I am on my way out of that role with the field.
I need to know who sent. I need to know who orchestrated that. They need to answer for their sins.
Do I need to address? I haven't really addressed it publicly, but should I just quickly like address my Field of 68 stuff publicly?
Yeah, sure. Why not?
I feel like this is probably the right time. So mutually departing the full-time role with Field of 68 at the end of October here. Absolutely love those guys. Had a fantastic time there. They really have made it so that I can have a career in sports content. So appreciate Jeff Goodman and Rob Doster so much for all that they have done for me. Very, very cordial ending of things is what I would say. Just kind of, to lack of better words, I feel like I've sort of outgrown what they need in the position. Like they're looking for someone who wants to be extremely passionate about social media and run their social channels and grow that side of the business. I am an on-camera guy who's going to get on-camera opportunities outside of what I do for Field of 68 as well. So that doesn't map well. Like hypothetically, if Sleepers was going to go get some great opportunity in the NCAA tournament, not great for the Field of 68 if the guy who's running their socials is off doing things like that. So we all wanted to make it work. We are leaving on very good terms. And I am, that now that is said, right? I'm on record. Love those guys. So thankful. Still going to partner with them. Still do like on-camera stuff, I believe. Now that said, hilarious that 3 days after I vacate the social position, we're calling Tyler Kolek a legend. I have no idea. I have no idea who tweeted that, but like legend with a capital L card?
It's insane.
Capital L.
Absolutely insane. That tweet's bookmarked too.
The thing is, the engagement went stupid. So shout out to whoever did that. Like he probably got more engagement on that than I have in 6 months. But goodness, capital L. Like, do we have no morals? Do we not have any sense of principles here? What are we doing? Moving on here, Malik Perry says he's going to push back with Guy and say that Minnesota is mine. They are the underdog. What does that mean? Minnesota is going to make the Sweet 16, Malik?
No, he didn't say that.
He said Minnesota is mine. They the underdog heavily.
No. Just no. Just no. Absolutely not. Come on now.
That 10 seconds too much for Minnesota on this podcast. I'm sorry. If they start doing good things, if Cam Christie's good, we'll talk about it. Tristan Freeman says, question for the pod. Which player is the Dak Prescott of college basketball and which coach is the Bill Belichick, a.k.a. a head coach who isn't great now that a past star player isn't around? Jim Boeheim without Melo is an example. That's a great example, first of all, Tristan, and a really great question. Carter, what's your answer?
Ooh. I don't know why the first one that came to my mind is like, who's the Dak Prescott? But is it Caleb Love?
What do we mean by Dak Prescott of CBB? Because I feel like that's a whole dialogue on Dak.
Like, Dak is good. Dak is a really good quarterback. But he also like just hurts his team so much. Like that's how I kind of look at him.
I was gonna say, are we sure Dak's good?
Like, I mean, I don't want to pull out. I mean, I'm trying to keep it more like middle ground here.
Okay.
Personally, background on this story. I was in PCB the weekend. I was actually at the beach with Zach Hurth and Lucas Marble and Dakota Kazin. Shout out to my Brits. We were walking Panama City Beach on spring break. And the Mississippi State football team was there. Like, we saw all the guys, like the big ass linemen. They had the Mississippi State backpacks, whatnot. Big fight breaks out. Guy gets slept. That guy was Dakota. That guy was Dak Prescott, who ended up getting slept in PCB. From that moment, I have never, ever trusted that man as a quarterback of any football team. And to quote the great LaShawn McCoy, Dak's ass. But I didn't want to go there, really.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, you went there. I appreciate you with the great story. I've heard that story before. You and I really have an underrated treasure trove of stories. Like, people think we roll out, hop out of bed and get a microphone and pop. No, we have some stories. Okay. There's some substance to this podcast.
Thanks.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess Caleb Love or Hunter Dickinson is my answer on Dak. Like, just guys who are clearly talented, but don't help their team always. I don't know.
I like that one. I don't know. I don't know who I'd pick for the coach, though, to be honest with you.
Yeah, I mean, I have one that came to mind, but the more I'm thinking it through, I don't love it straight up with Belichick and Brady. But the first one that came to my mind was Calipari, and you're going back to like Anthony Davis, but I guess the problem is I don't think Belichick's had talent post Brady. Like Cal has still had talent and has underachieved a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, Shaka post VCU.
Yeah. Also, like they kind of have to have really bottomed out, right? Because I mean, some would throw a little Tom Izzo around and say, without Mateen Cleaves, where's his titles? But Michigan State's still been good all these years.
Yeah, I mean, one could throw that out possibly, but also one have been to Final Fours. Just saying.
So we don't have an answer. That's our answer.
No, I don't think I have. Honestly, he took it. Boeheim with Melo is probably the answer. Boeheim without Melo, but like even so, like some of those Syracuse teams made runs. They weren't bad. They were good.
Yeah. Why do I want to go like burn it down and say Brad Stevens?
Brad Stevens without the Butler run.
Man had Gordon Hayward. What's he done since? Except he went back to the title game without Gordon Hayward.
I really don't. Honestly, I don't know if there's a distinct answer for that question.
Yeah, right. I'm gonna do my best to think of one before the show ends. Probably not though. All right, Ulamog's here with what everybody wants. He has our sleeper of the week. Congrats to Matt F for winning sleeper of the week and also for having a child. All that and still finding time to engage in the Discord. Props to the kid for already having a keen sense of audio quality. A close second is to the women of the Discord. Thanks for showing the world that this is unequivocally a pro-women podcast. And that's not to say the podcast is anti the opposite of that. Tokenism aside, it's great to have a diverse group of basketball fans in here. Matt F, sleeper of the week, women of the Discord, close runner-up. Great week, everybody involved.
Well earned, everybody.
High bar to be sleeper of the week now, though. Like, have a child is the qualification.
Yeah, I don't. I feel like there might be a little bit of a drop off coming up.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. The door is open, you could say. We went from elite talent to anyone could do it now. Malik's back in here. He says, I guess I have to go at Carter again. I knew his music taste was bad, but Sexy Red, hell no.
Okay, first of all, Malik's never been in a spot where they have thrown on that ski. I mean, that is an absolute crowd goer starter. They played that at the Lions game yesterday. It was electric. Everybody, players loved it. Everyone in the stand just ski. If you see me and you trying to see what's up, ski. I mean, it's a slapper.
Okay, all right. I'm
not saying if you want lyrical substance and things like that, that's great. But ski is not one of those. It's not one of those songs. You just throw it on and it gets the people going.
There's a time and a place for sure. I am not going to attempt to ski ever again. I actually want to read the full comment from Malik here because I'm starting to think Malik is a generational commenter. Here's in full. Here's the comment. Guess I have to go at Carter again. Knew his music taste was bad, but Sexy Red, hell no. Now, Greg, babies do cry, but 4- and 5-year-olds are supposed to help out with the baby, which is what I meant. Booker even said that those guys have been helping him the most. Do you guys like pickles?
I do like pickles.
I don't like pickles.
For real?
Yeah, that was like minus 400 that I don't like pickles, though.
Yeah, true. I like pickles.
Great comment, Malik. D Rose SAT says, outside of Terrence Shannon, would MSU fans swap any of the guards, AJ, Walker, Akins, for another Big Ten guard? Tough question, but fair question. And most MSU fans wouldn't admit the real answer.
I'd swap Hogard for some other guards in the Big Ten.
You want to pick any?
Boo. Besides Terrence Shannon, right?
Yeah.
I think Boo's the only definitive one.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, if you...
But then again, like, I don't know, like, if Boo and Tyson work together technically, because, like, they're both wired the same. Like, the one thing about AJ is he does, like, pass.
Boo passes.
Does Boo pass?
Yeah, there's like I don't know what it necessarily is. Maybe it's just like him and Audige together, but there's this narrative that Boo Buie is not a passer that is really fascinating to me because he's a pretty fantastic passer. He had a 31% assist rate. That's last season after having 29% assist rates, both of the 2 seasons prior to that.
I hate assist rate. What are the numbers? What's the assist numbers?
4.5, but that's
Okay.
like assist rate is way more important to me than like I don't know. Like if you're just going through games of Boo Buie last year, 8 assists, 8 assists, 8 assists, 5 assists, 4 assists, 5 assists, 8 assists, 8 assists, 7 assists, 7 assists, 7, 6, 6. Like almost every night the guy's doing something like that. So yes, I think the clear answer is you would start by taking Boo over AJ. And then if all the wheels were off on this, there's a lot of guards, in my opinion, who are better than Jaden Akins. But if you already had like Boo and Tyson, I don't know that you want Jameer Young in Akins' spot, right? Like,
That's where I was coming from. Like if you do Terrence Shannon for Jaden Akins, I think that's just like a like for like swap.
yeah, you would just want shooting for sure at that 3 spot. And Jameer, to me, is the 3rd best guard in this conference. But if you already have Boo, then I don't know what you do. I don't know that there is somebody better that fits than Jaden, though, outside of that.
Not that I can think of.
Like maybe AJ Storr, maybe Connor Essegian.
Maybe. But those guys are but the thing is like Essegian's food defensively.
Yeah. Yeah. And Akins is an elite shooter as is. So
Yeah.
but yeah, that would be the honest answer there. But great trio. Fantastic trio. Honestly, trio should win a national championship, right, Cart?
Yeah, we are gonna win a national championship.
Yeah, team should. That's what I'm expecting. Ryan Lyon comments, though. He says, I wouldn't swap AJ or Tyson for TSJ. I would for Akins, though. I think Tyson is better than him, and he doesn't play the role AJ does. That's crazy. Not swapping Terrence Shannon for AJ Hogard.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah, it's crazy. Shout out to Ryan Lyon, though. He was his own camp out this week.
Yeah, man forgot things and had to DoorDash a tent from Dick's Sporting Goods. Didn't even know you could do that.
Yeah, just a lot of effort and impressive stuff for him adjusting on the fly. And then we had Ryan Lyon and D-Rose SAT really going back and forth on who they would trade here. I'm not going to read all of the comments, but fantastic dialogue, which you can get in the Sleepers Discord. Really had seen the discussion grow a lot. Like now that we're approaching the season, there's a lot of fantastic in-depth discussion happening. And we had to sob. We had to remorse over the loss. The first person to leave the Discord. Should we address that?
Yeah, Greg bullied someone out of the Discord.
So Drake drops an album. And I mean, it starts a whole musical dialogue. You should know if you've listened to us before. We're Drake guys. We're going to be pro Drake. And I thought it was a respectful, joking discussion back and forth where Ryan the Lion is not a Drake fan, or at least it does not hold him to a high standard of musical excellence.
He's not a fan of good music.
He dropped an article from Rolling Stone and basically used that to cite why Drake is not a great artist, because Drake albums aren't listed high in the Rolling Stone list that had a lot of albums that you and I don't listen to on that list. And all I said was I'll trust my ears over whatever this writer tells me is enjoyable music. That's because music's subjective. That's the thing about music.
Yeah. What do you say? What writer? I think the term like some 70-year-old Rolling Stone writer was thrown out there.
Oh, did I actually say that? I didn't know that I said
maybe. I figured by the response you did.
I don't know, but anyways, I was immediately 10 minutes later hit with a message from one of our paid members, who's a longtime commenter, by the way. He has listened to the show a bunch of times, telling me, actually, I think I should read it word for word, Cart.
Please.
I don't know. He probably doesn't listen to the show anymore, but I feel like this is kind of his last moment. Let me find this. If you could stall for me, that'd be lovely. Great work.
It's a nice little stretch. I thought the response by him was bar, so we got to read it.
Yeah, here it is. He said, actually, now I'm scrolling back and looking at our mess. This is crazy. In the span of 3 days, this man who I really respected and appreciated previously, he made his own graphic for Guys. He made a graphic of the 10 best shooters in the country and sent it to me and said, you probably already have something created and I'm not very good at graphics, but use this if you'd like, or don't. It won't hurt my feelings. Like, that was the level of kindness this man was showing and appreciation for the show. He was helping out the show. And then 3 days later, get a message from him that says, I'm 64 years old and your argument over what 30-somethings believe is good music tells me I don't belong here. Wish you all luck. Well, on second thought, maybe I don't.
That well, on second thought, maybe I don't hit like a ton of bricks on Friday.
It's a bar. And then he blocked me, or he left the Discord before I could respond. I sent like a long message back that was like, I'm really sorry if I offended you, but I don't want to lose you. You're a valued member of the community. So anyways, if this makes it back to you and you're listening, you're a very valued member of the community. I apologize for being disrespectful. I didn't think I was disrespectful, though. I stand by the fact that I wasn't, just having a little musical dialogue. And lastly, to make it clear for anyone wondering out there, I want to make it unequivocally clear that this is a pro old people show. Okay. And don't even need to define it as old. We're a pro all ages show here at the Sleepers Podcast. All are welcome. So shout out to our departure, though. You get the honor of being the first person to ever leave, and coincidentally a Purdue fan.
And leave on a bar too.
Purdue leaving before they're supposed to.
I mean, that the jokes write themselves.
Am I supposed to be surprised? All right. Good day, comment section. Appreciate everybody that is remaining in the Discord. If you want to join this community, you should. We're having a blast over there. It's going to, I think, get pretty large in numbers, hopefully, fingers crossed, when the season gets here. So join. The link is in the description of every video that we do. It's $9.99 a month. And if we do our job betting-wise, you'll make more than that, clearly, and won't have to worry about the expenditures. All right, to the show today, Cart. As I alluded to, all three topics today are going to come from the official Big Ten media poll before the season. It seems like the last few years, this has been a thing where I think it's the Columbus Dispatch puts this together. They basically send out a request to a bunch of media members that cover this conference from a bunch of different sites, actual media organizations, newspapers, things like that, and ask them for their votes for first team, second team, all Big Ten, player of the year, freshman of the year, transfer of the year, and then stack rank the teams. The results were fascinating to me this year. There's a lot of different things that we could pull out. In general, I would say the Big Ten feels pretty, we don't know what to expect. You know, you've got Purdue and you know you've got Michigan State. You know those teams are national contenders. Outside of that, I think this is the cloudiest Big Ten we've seen in 20 years. Like, you have no idea who could finish third. You have no idea who could finish really all the way down to like 12th. So I think the results reflect that. There's a lot of teams in odd spots. There's so many names that got a vote on the second team all Big Ten. There's not a lot of consensus outside of Zach Edey and Purdue and the Michigan State backcourt. So we pulled out two things. We're going to do our ballot. Like, we actually voted for all these things, not in the poll, but we put our votes together this morning. We're going to reveal those in the third segment of today's show. So that's coming. First, we want to nitpick two things we had problems with, and we could have picked a lot of them. There were more like 10 things I think we could have made a segment out of today. We picked two. The first one is this. Zach Edey was not the unanimous Big Ten player of the year, according to these 28 writers. 27 of them picked Zach Edey. One of them did not. One of them picked your shooting guard, Michigan State's Tyson Walker. I think this is insane. This is a preseason poll. Your job is to list who the best player in the Big Ten is. Your job is not to predict an injury. How is Tyson Walker receiving a vote over Zach Edey for Big Ten Player of the Year?
Greg, you know I'm a Spartan dog through and through. All right. You know, I absolutely love Tyson Walker. Watching him play last season, watching him play, I mean, already predicting and looking forward to what he's going to do this season. I think he's in line for a very, very special year. With that said, there's absolutely no way that Zach Edey should not be the unanimous preseason player of the year. It is malpractice to not have him as that. And I say that as a Michigan State fan and a Tyson Walker fan, whatever you want to call it. It's not a slight to Tyson either, by the way. I don't think it's a slight to any player in the conference. It's Zach Edey. It's the national player of the year. If he can be the national player of the year, I'm pretty sure he could be the best player in his conference pretty easily and should have that respect as the best player in the conference. It's one of those things where, you know how we always say on this podcast, like there's a world, or I can make an argument, or we could hear an argument. Don't want to hear this one. Zach Edey should be the unanimous preseason Big Ten player of the year. And I'm not hearing any other tangents going off of it, because the only one that you could say, you mentioned, is that Zach Edey decides that he's done with school. He's done with Purdue and leaves before Big Ten play. Or God forbid something happens to him during the season, which is crazy to even try to picture that. That's insane in itself. So I just don't know how you don't have Zach Edey as a Big Ten preseason player of the year. It makes no sense to me. It's kind of laughable.
You can't make an argument for it. Like that's one of our favorite tropes is, well, you can make an argument. You literally cannot make an argument that Tyson Walker will be a better basketball player this season than Zach Edey. It's not real. There is no outcome. There's a 0.0% outcome. We could simulate this 10,000 times, and 10,000 times Zach Edey is a better college basketball player than Tyson Walker. I want to give you some numbers to quantify this, Carter, because obviously Zach Edey's great. He won the award last year, and obviously if he stays healthy, he's the favorite to win it again. But I think people are forgetting how generationally never seen before dominant this big man is. In a 4-week stretch last year, Carter, Zach Edey went to the Breslin Center at Michigan State, put up 32 points, 17 rebounds, and 2 blocks. Then a week later, he went back to West Lafayette where they played Maryland. He had 24 points, 16 rebounds, and 2 blocks. Then a week later, Michigan State came to West Lafayette to Mackey. He put up 38 points, 13 rebounds, and a block.
Why did you have to pick this stretch?
Then a week later, he goes to Assembly Hall in Bloomington to his rival, where he put up 33 points, 18 rebounds, and 3 blocks. That was every week for a month. The man's putting up 30 and 16, and like there's nobody like him. The sport hasn't seen anybody like him. Like Luka Garza is probably the closest thing we've seen like him, and Zach Edey is so much better than Luka Garza was. And I don't know if Illinois fans or if Iowa fans are going to get mad at me for that, but like Luka was just an elite offensive weapon. Zach Edey's an elite offensive weapon and an elite defensive weapon and a physical force the likes the sport has never seen. He never comes off the court. He's the reason Purdue is the favorite for all of this stuff. And this is not disrespectful to Tyson Walker. This is not disrespect to anybody on Michigan State or anybody else in this conference, but everyone else is so far behind him. Like this vote could have been for Terrence Shannon or Boo Buie or Jameer Young or any of the other guys that are like quote unquote first team all Big Ten preseason guys. It would be equally as ridiculous as it is to think of Tyson Walker would need to be putting up 30 and 10 every week in order to even be in the same conversation as Zach Edey. And no disrespect to Tyson Walker, he's going to score like 14 points a game. If Zach Edey scores 14 points in a game this year, it's his worst game of the season.
Hey, can I play a quick devil's advocate here?
No.
Just quickly.
Sure.
Because now I'm thinking about it, okay? I'm thinking about a world. I'm thinking about maybe a world here. Because I'm trying to figure out what the thought process would be. Either because it could only be one of two ways. Either something happens to Zach Edey or Michigan State's just that much better than Purdue.
Wait, hold on this quickly. You don't vote in the preseason for bad things to happen. Like
okay, but what about the second form of that? Like you think Michigan State is going to win the regular season and like win, be a better team than Purdue.
But if Michigan State beats Purdue, wins the Big Ten, and is a better team, if Michigan State's the number 1 team in the country and Purdue's like 10th, that's because Michigan State's depth and Michigan State's trio of guards are better than the collective group that is around Zach Edey. That could happen. It is certainly a world. It is not going to be a world where Tyson Walker averages 24 and 8. Like that is not in the cards. And I've like, even in our Discord, we've had some people discussing like, oh, Tyson can make a jump. Even if Tyson Walker's better this season than he was last year, I don't think it looks different statistically, does it? Like how
see that? Yeah, no, it does though.
But how? Because you
like more. Well, I'm saying more points. I think there's.
How does that happen? We've said that's going to AJ or Jaden. So,
but it could also go to Tyson though. I think it's. I'm not saying who it goes to. I'm saying it could go to one of the three. But you had the departure of Joey, which is 15 points right there, and that has to come from somewhere. It could come from somebody else. Who knows? Fuck, it could come from like.
It's going to come primarily from whoever plays the 4. First of all, like. I'm sorry, but you can't just remove 15 points from your power forward and give it to your shooting guard. Whoever plays the 4 is going to score some of Joey Hauser's points.
But so not all of them.
If we want to say there's like 10 shots to distribute, all I've heard all offseason is that those shots are going to Jaden Akins, and that's why he came back. So we're just in this twilight zone of a world where I'm being asked to envision a world where Tyson Walker jumps from 14 points to 20 points a game, and Jaden Akins jumps from 10 points.
Has anyone actually said him jumping to 20 points?
I'm just lost on what we're discussing then, because we're discussing a world where Tyson Walker is a better player than Zach Edey. So are we saying Tyson Walker is a better player than Zach Edey this year if Tyson averages 17?
No, I think we're arguing something different now.
What are you arguing? Because that's you were saying I'm envisioning a world where Michigan State's better than Purdue and Tyson is better than Zach Edey.
Well, that I was saying the person who picked that's what I thought they were obviously thinking. Like they think that if Tyson gets to like 17 to 18 and they're the number 1 team in the Big Ten, that would maybe give him the edge. I wouldn't personally agree with that. I don't think that's good enough to surmount. Is that the word or whatever word? Like Zach Edey from the throne of the Big Ten Player of the Year. But I'm saying that's what they might be thinking. And I guess I kind of got going on another tangent there because I think there's a world where Tyson does take a statistical jump, not like to 20 or 24 or something like to get past what Zach Edey's stats are at. I'm just looking at it more in just Tyson Walker as a player. I think he could average 17 or 18 points. But I don't think that is good enough to beat Zach Edey as Player of the Year. But I just want to be on record saying that he can make a statistical jump this season.
Okay, yeah, I just don't know what we're discussing anymore. Like, is there a world? Can you make an argument that every Michigan State player takes a jump? I guess.
But you just told me that Tyson Walker, it won't look different this season for him, like statistically.
I don't think it will because this is the like. I don't think people understand that in order to take production jumps, you need opportunity. Like you need to go from a role where you're like, just like let's look at Tyson last year, for example, Cart. Max Christie departed the team. So the offense started running through Tyson Walker, and coincidentally, he was way better. Okay? Like, if you were trying to convince me that Tyson Walker could be a first-team All-American and maybe even better than Zach Edey, if A.J. Hoggard wasn't here, because now the ball's in Tyson's hands every play, and he's the only guy that we're worried about driving, like a Denzel Valentine-esque, we're going to give it to him every play, then yeah, I would buy that. A.J. Hoggard's a ball-dominant point guard. Like that or not, if A.J. Hoggard is being used well enough for Michigan State to be the 4th best team in the country, like we all think they are, then A.J. Hoggard has the ball as much, if not more, than Tyson Walker does. And I'm not saying Tyson Walker can't score and be great, but like all 3 of these guys are back on the roster. And if any one of them has been promised a larger leap role, it's Jaden Akins, who thought he was an NBA player and came back because he's supposed to get Joey Hauser shots. So if you're trying to sell me that on a team with A.J. Hoggard being the ball-dominant elite assist guy, that Tyson Walker can score 20 points a game at the same time Jaden Akins gets better,
never said 20.
That's insane.
Never said 20.
So, okay, the jump is 14 to 16?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Like 14, 16, 14 to 17. That's it. That is statistically different. That's what I'm saying. You saying statistically the same, that him staying at 14 doesn't sit right with me. That's all I'm saying.
It's
I'll even take one more point.
It's a super compelling discussion that maybe Tyson Walker can take a jump up 1 point per game when we're talking about if he deserved to vote for Big Ten Player of the Year over Zach Edey.
But we both agree he didn't. Compelling. We both agree he didn't.
We didn't need to do that entire 10 minutes on. Okay. Yeah. Ooh, can he get to 15?
Your fault.
Can he get to 15? Ooh, like he was great. He was about as good as I think he can possibly be on a team with AJ Hoggard and Jaden Akins.
And it'll be the same this season.
So if Tyson goes up to 16, if he goes up to 16, what's Jaden do?
I don't know. Maybe get over 10 so he can get some respect.
So everybody goes up. What's AJ do?
I don't know. I feel like AJ is going to be pretty much the same.
Okay. Because these numbers are starting to look like Malik's projections of where everyone averaged 15 this year as you go down the line. Give me everybody's points per game from East Lansing. What are they doing? Everybody's taking a jump. That's what I'm told.
Let's see. I'll probably have AJ at like 13. Probably got Jaden at like 12. Probably got Tyson at like 16, 17. And then everyone else kind of just filling in. I don't really have like any other projections. I think in a perfect world, I'd love like Xavier Booker to like average like 8, 9. But I don't know if that's gonna happen.
Malik Hall?
Malik Hall probably 8.
All right. So that's a leap from everybody except for Malik Hall.
Yeah, leap's a pretty strong. I mean, I'm asking for what? 1 more point from Jaden?
3 more points from Tyson, 2 more points from Jaden, 1 more point from AJ.
Yeah. Sounds about right to me.
I'd love some numbers on how many teams in college basketball in the last 20 years have had 3 guards score 12 points a game or more on them.
I mean, probably those Baylor teams.
You think?
Yeah, like Davion Mitchell, Maceo Teague, and Jared Butler.
So we're looking back on that team, the Jared Butler year, and I think we would both agree that team is, if not the best backcourt in 20 years of college basketball, right up there, right? Like, How would you frame that? Is that the best backcourt in 20 years in college basketball?
It's probably up there, yeah.
Okay. They went 16 points, 15 points, 14 points. Nobody else on the team had more than 9 points.
I like that model.
That's what we're thinking here.
I like that model. I don't know about 6. Did you say 16, 16, and 14?
Tyson Walker had 16. Maceo Teague was 15. Davion Mitchell was 14.
Yeah, I don't think it'll be that high.
They all played 30, 31, and 33 minutes.
I don't think it'll be that high. But I do think that, like, what didn't you just say that all 3 guards average over 10?
Yeah, I mean, I want how many teams have had 3 guys with 12, because that's what your projections. And I'd be a little curious on tempo as well. Those Baylor teams played pretty fast, if I'm remembering correctly. Michigan State has been extremely slow, even though they've had AJ Hoggard at point guard the last 3 seasons. So I don't know. I'm very curious, man, because I guess that's the bar. I guess the bar for Michigan State is best backcourt college basketball scene in 20 years. If you're expecting these 3 guys are going to average 12 a game or more.
Man, I really just asked for 2 to 3 more points from Tyson Walker, and it's just absolutely spiraling.
Well, at the same time, every other guy's taking a quote unquote jump. That's like, it can't happen. That's the point. Not all 3 of them are going to take a jump. That's not how it works. 2 of them would take a jump if 1 left. They didn't do that. So
is scoring 2 more points a jump?
Yeah. There's only so many shots to go around, man.
Like, it's 1 more bucket.
Okay.
It's literally 1 more bucket. Just 1.
Okay.
All right. So first and second team, Michigan.
You tell me how you feel about Michigan. How's Michigan this year? They finished 11th on the preseason poll here.
That's crazy to me. We already talked about this. I think this Michigan team could actually be good. Like, maybe good's a stretch, but like, I think they're way closer to like the I guess this phrase fit. They're closer to the top 6 in the Big Ten than they are to like being like in the Minnesota and Penn State range and Nebraska range. I think people are putting them in that category, and I think they got enough talent to be considered more towards the top portion of the Big Ten with those teams. I think they can win games defensively. I think Nkamhoua is a very underrated ad. When we get to our teams, you might be surprised where I have Nkamhoua. So I don't know. I'm a little bit more in on this Michigan team than I think others are. I do think that they make the NCAA tournament this season.
Okay. Yeah, I've heard you say that before. I was surprised you went on record with that. Mostly just because I feel like that doesn't track with your history of feelings towards Michigan basketball teams, but I think it's the right read. Yeah, I don't know. They were voted 11th in this poll. That's consensus. 28 writers all voted individually. I am surprised they finished 11th, not because I think it's crazy to pick Michigan 11th. I think it's shocking that as the sample size goes up from like 2 people that might be low on Michigan to 28 people, that's where they land. I don't think Michigan is worse than Iowa, Rutgers, Northwestern. I think at minimum, they're right in that group. I think if you look at the players on their teams, really not Rutgers, but Northwestern and Iowa to me are like top heavy. Like Boo Booey's fantastic. And then everybody else is a total question mark. Iowa, Perkins, you know what you're getting. Samford, you're hopeful he can be really good. Everything else is a total question mark. And we know they're going to stink defensively. Rutgers, I like their makeup. They're balanced in theory, but if Peichel takes Derek Simpson to being a top 200 offense, that would be an achievement, in my opinion. So, we're back here with Michigan where they have holes, no doubt. Like, the fifth starter's not good, but I feel like there's a lot of negativity being thrown at this program right now because of the narrative that Juwan Howard really underachieved for back-to-back seasons, but more so last season on a team that was built around Hunter Dickinson, built to win now. They were super young. They had a bunch of guys that were NBA players that, quite frankly, weren't great college basketball players. That's a problem, and Juwan Howard deserves criticism for that. Juwan Howard has also had really good college teams in his tenure at Michigan. He has done that. We have seen it. It's not like this guy can't coach. It's not like he can't win in the NCAA tournament. He didn't last season. That doesn't mean he's done. Now, there's health concerns, certainly, and more so, like, the biggest concern is that there's talent concerns on this team. Like, the fifth starter is going to be Jalen Llewellyn or Yusuf Kayet or Trey Jackson. It will be Trey Jackson day one. I don't think it will be by the end of the season. That's a concern for me for sure. But I feel like people have really flipped negatively on the Doug McDaniel-Terrace Reed duo. Number one, like, it's not necessarily just about Nkamhoua, and Nkamhoua did not get a lot of love in this poll. Like, I think you and I are higher on Nkamhoua than everybody that voted in this poll is. But even if you don't think Nkamhoua is going to be like a good first option star, Doug McDaniel and Terrace Reed are like high pedigree recruits that should be right in the mix with other guys in this conference on quote unquote better teams that we're projecting breakout seasons from. Like, I don't get why those guys are written off, and 8 of the 24 voters here picked Nebraska over Michigan. Like, to me, Nebraska would kill to have Doug McDaniel and Terrace Reed as like a core compared to what they're working with. I don't know. It's kind of just asinine to me, and I think it's flipped in a really negative direction. I want to can I numbers you? We're not a math podcast, but can I throw some numbers at you?
Please.
I want you to tell me whose numbers these are. 15 points and 7 assists at Minnesota, 17 points and 5 assists versus Northwestern, 16 points and 8 assists in a game against a team I don't want to admit, 19 points and 5 assists in a game against a team I don't want to admit, 18 points and 4 assists in a win against Michigan State, 16 points and 4 assists in a win at the rack at Rutgers, 20 points against Wisconsin, 10 points, 4 assists, and 3 steals at Assembly Hall at Indiana. Whose numbers are those?
Is it a Michigan player?
Maybe.
Is it Doug?
It's Doug McDaniel. Doug McDaniel, in the final month of the season, from February 18th on, over 8 games, averaged 14 points and 5 assists on a team that had Kobe Buffkin and Hunter Dickinson both shooting a combined 22 times a game on it. Like, everybody's in on the Bruce Thornton train. We've been waving the Braden Smith flag all offseason. Those guys are really good, and I love them. Do not get me wrong. Doug averaged 14-5 on a team with Hunter and Kobe in the final month of the year when he finally got his feet under him and understood how to play college basketball. He was really good for the final month of the season. And now he's on a team where he is going to be the first option offensively. I get that Kamwa is good. Doug McDaniel will be the first option on this team. I believe that really strongly. And if you're projecting a breakout from other guys, I don't think you should have seen anything from Doug McDaniel that should make you believe he's not going to break out and be really good this season and beyond. Like he is a piece that Michigan should be really excited about. And the fact that him, Kamwa, and Terrace Reed as a core is picked 12th in this conference beneath a team that's just Tominaga and nothing else is insanity to me. I don't get it. And I've really restricted myself from buying into Michigan. I don't think they're going to be that good this year. But this is where I draw the line. Like, this is officially swung too low on Michigan. I'll put my stake in the ground. I'm buying stock in this team. If they're picked 12th, that's absurd.
Yeah, that's how you trigger Gregory if you attack his youngest son. Do not attack Doug McDaniel like that. But no, I think that well, I did have two questions for it. Is this team, like, it's pretty obvious, like this team is the least talented team Juwan's had, right? In his tenure, easily.
I guess it really depends on who the fifth guy is, but on paper, yeah.
The reason I asked that is because I just want a refresher. Think back to the other team that you would probably put in this fold as like Juwan's least talented team. How did Juwan do with that team?
Well,
he did. So he has a track record of doing well with maybe some under talented teams.
I mean, at Michigan, his teams have been uber talented for the most part. But if you were picking one that wasn't talented, you would go back to his very first year where it was, and even that team had like senior Xavier Simpson, but
like Eli Brooks and who else was on that team? Was that Brooks?
It would have been like Brooks and Isaiah Livers before Livers was good, but like role player types that he was taking in around a Xavier Simpson. David DeJulius and Adrian Nunez were playing big minutes on those teams at times. And that team was a lock NCAA tournament team. They weren't anything special. I think they got as high as third in the country in the non-conference because they won the Battle for Atlantis, and then kind of just were like a 500 team in the Big Ten. But like, that should be the expectation to me, kind of in a wide open Big Ten with how much talent is on this roster. It's not a ton, but like, there's not a lot of talent on any of these teams. I'm not writing Juwan Howard off because a team that was led by Hunter Dickinson and his son, who refused to guard ever, wasn't a good basketball team. Like, that was last year. Every problem from last year's team is gone now, literally. And so is the talent, but every problem is gone. This year's team should be really good defensively. Like, we know Terrace Reed's a really good defender. Doug was a good defender last year. We know Namari Burnett and Olivier Kamwa are impact defenders. Like, this team will be good defensively at minimum. And if Doug and or Kamwa are just good offensive options, which, again, spoiler alert, every Juwan Howard team's first and second option have been great offensively. He has never had a problem featuring players offensively and getting production out of them. It's been the guys beyond that. And look, the fifth option, whoever it is on this team, is going to hold them back. That's true. That's not going away. But even like last year's team, man, was not like behind other teams in the Big Ten. Last year's team didn't make the NCAA tournament because they had a horrendous disaster non-conference. That's what happened. And it was because they thought Jalen Llewellyn was a guy, and then he got hurt. It took them 2 months to sort that out. Once Doug McDaniel was handed the keys and we realized what was going on, the team was right in the middle with all the other Big Ten teams. So you just got to avoid disaster again this year. And this year, you don't have an identity problem. You know who the team is. It's Doug McDaniel's team. It's Olivier Kamwa's team. And by the way, like, for anybody who wants to come out and hit me with everybody's down on Juwan Howard because they missed the tournament last season. Let me just make sure everybody knows who's on the rosters of these Big Ten teams real quickly. Olivier Kamwa has as many NCAA tournament wins single-handedly as Nebraska, Ohio State, Rutgers, Iowa, Northwestern, Indiana, Wisconsin, Illinois, Minnesota, and Purdue all had combined last season. So we can slow down on being worried about that, okay? It's if this team has a fifth option that's playable or not. That's what decides the season.
Yeah. I mean, it'll be a nice little showcase for Doug before he heads somewhere else next year too. So, but you know how I feel about Doug McDaniel and Terrace Reed. I've already said that I think they're going to be. I think they're as a 1-2 punch. I think a lot of teams would take that. I'll tell you right now, Nebraska would take that. Minnesota would take that. A lot of these teams that you're putting at the bottom in like that 11-12 range, they would easily take this Michigan roster and these Michigan players. So they shouldn't be lumped in with that. I don't agree with that. Last thing I'll ask on this is that Aaliyah guy, is he gonna play this season? Is he eligible? Is he on the team?
It's up in the air, is the last I've heard. It's like the Kentucky guy. Nobody knows if he's admitted
Got
or
it.
not.
Got it. If he's not there, who's your backup 5? Or you just put Olivier at the 5?
Yeah, the backup 5 would be Kamwa in that situation,
okay.
which is the only reason that's problematic is then that opens where you need Trey Jackson and or Terrence Williams to play real minutes at the 4.
Massive that Terrace Reed stays out of foul trouble this season.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Massive.
Absolutely.
And it's also really not that hard not to foul, especially if you know like you're gonna play no matter what. Like just let some things go. Just don't foul.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's actually fun. But okay, we can move on.
Just like being a good person. It's actually fun. You should try it.
No, I'm just saying, like, if you know like you're gonna play 30, right? You know you're gonna play as long as you stay out of foul trouble. Just like let some things go. Like, don't get any cheap fouls. Don't get any stupid reaches. You don't have to read. Maybe your guy scores. Maybe he does. That's fine. Just wall up and don't foul.
Yeah. How many points does Carson Cooper score this year? What's the jump there?
Probably like 4.
So a jump. Nice. That'd be nice. Whole 4. That's honestly the biggest jump of the team that you've shown me so far. Okay. Should we get to our ballots?
Yeah, man.
You want to go first? You want me to? We have all Big Ten first team, second team, player of the year, freshman of the year, transfer of the year. And then I asked you to pick 1 through 14 rankings as well.
Okay. Now, do you want to like go first team? Like go, I do first, then you do first team, or you want me to just do it all?
Why don't we let's do the awards first. So you can do all Big Ten first team, and then I'll do mine, and then all Big Ten second team, and then I'll do mine, and then the awards, and then the rankings.
Okay. All right. Sounds good. Let me just pull this up here. All right. So for my first team, I got Tyson Walker, Terrence Shannon, Boo Buie, Zach Edey, and Coleman Hawkins on my first team.
Wow.
That's what I have on my first team. Second team. Wait, I do second team, right?
Well, I'll jump in and do mine quickly.
Okay.
4 of them are the same. I got Edey, Buie, Shannon, Walker. I do not have Coleman Hawkins. I have Jameer Young.
Okay. So you went like you just did the four guards, basically.
Pretty much. I think those are clearly the best 5. I think there's a drop off to 6. And I think that was the consensus from the 28 writers as well.
Okay. All right. And then I did for my second team, I had AJ Hoggard, Jameer Young, Bruce Thornton, Cliff Amourier, and Olivier Nkamhoua.
Okay. Interesting. So you had Thornton, Cliff, Jameer Young, Nkamhoua, and who?
Hoggard.
Okay. Got it. So we have 2 different then on our list of 10. My second team is Bruce Thornton, Cliff Amourier, AJ Hoggard. I have Braden Smith, and I have Deshaun Harris-Smith.
Wow, you have Deshaun Harris-Smith second team.
I do. So I think one of the things with projecting these teams often is that people underrate freshmen. Like I think it's rare that you go back and people are missing like returning players that we didn't gas up in the offseason. I think it's often that an impact freshman just comes in and is better than people. Like Jalen Hood-Schifino last year was step on the court, all Big Ten good.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think he was on a lot of the preseason list, stuff like that. There's a pretty big gap here. Like when you look at this, I think there's a consensus 8 everybody feels good about. And I think it's the 8 we had on our teams, right? It's the first team 5. Everybody's really hype about Bruce Thornton's breakout year. Cliff is a no-brainer on one of the 2 teams, and AJ Hoggard's going to have the production, so he's a no-brainer on one of the 2 teams. Then you're like picking who's your guy and who's not. Like I've been a Braden Smith guy all offseason. I think Purdue's going to end up with 2 guys on these teams. You love Coleman Hawkins. You've been super high on him, so I don't have a huge problem with you including that. But if you're going to take a shot, like it's wide open for that 10th spot. It could be Kamwa. It certainly could be. It could be a lot of other guys as well. Like it could be one of the Iowa guys, Peyton Sanford or Tony Perkins. To me, I think DHS is way more talented than all those guys. And I think he's going to come in and play 30 minutes a game. And I also think Maryland's going to be very good. Like I've seen a lot of Julian Reese hype on these teams. Dante Scott used to be picked on these teams. Like he was a breakout guy. Everybody's hyping up Jameer Young as a first team guy. But to me, if Maryland is actually the third best team, their second best player is DHS. Like he's going to be a star in my mind. So yeah, I'm willing to go on record with it. And that's an obvious segue into my freshman of the year, which is Deshaun Harris-Smith. But if he is the freshman of the year, I think he makes an all Big Ten team, which is why he's on my second team. Who's your freshman of the year?
My freshman year is Deshaun Harris-Smith as well.
Okay. Do you agree? I had a tweet over the weekend where I said, the more I think about it, Maryland should be clearly at 3. There should be separation there. Do you agree with me on that?
I have Maryland at 3 in my rankings. I don't think they're clearly there though. I guess that's where the only disconnect would be. I still hold like Ohio State could fight for that 3 spot, or another team could maybe sneak in for that 3 spot. But I think that you should have Maryland there as a preseason like ranking. That's where I personally have them.
Okay. Yeah. Records end up being flimsy too. Like sometimes the best third team finishes like 6th in the Big Ten.
Yeah. But like, I mean, when you look at it, like with this Maryland team, I'm just like Jameer Young, Sean Harris-Smith, Kaiser, Julian Reese is good. Dante Scott, for people who like to buy into like preseason hype videos too, go check out Maryland's last week video. Just Dante Scott hits like a double behind the back, like dribble through the lane, dish to Julian Reese for like a dunk. It's just like, this team has talent. They do. And they're well coached. So I don't know. I mean, I'll probably get to the clearly third point like you eventually, but this team is really, really good.
Yeah, that's where I'm at. The more I just see it listed out, like if you and I are both high on Ohio State, that's who we've thrown like in competition with them for third. I think Illinois is also like consensus in competition with them for third, and Indiana as well. If you go up and down the list of guys on these teams, though, like Jameer Young is right up there. Like it's him and Terrence Shannon are the 2 best like singular players. But Deshaun Harris-Smith is better than any freshman the other teams have. If you're going to back Ohio State, you're hoping that Bruce Thornton is as good as Jameer Young already is. And I don't think there is any. Like I like Roddy Gale, but I don't think there's a comp there with Harris-Smith. Maryland's front court is more experienced. I think Julian Reese and Dante Scott is like as solid comes. I like Kaiser's upside. So yeah, the more I'm listening out, like Maryland's the only team in the Big Ten that has an argument for 4 players in the top 25. And like I'm picking Harris-Smith second team. Other people have picked Reese. Jameer Young is first team. Like I think looking back on it, we're kind of just overlooking the team that has a bunch of guys who deserve to be named on this compared to like Illinois has Shannon, Ohio State has Thornton, Indiana has, I don't know, a messy front court. Like I don't think there's a comp here. So gas up Maryland a little more for me. And Harris-Smith specifically as freshman of the year. You like that, right? We're on the same page.
Yeah, I did. I did kind of throw a little loop into this. I picked like a second choice for it. Did you do that for yours by any chance?
I can right now.
Okay, I had Mbako as my second choice.
Okay, yeah, that's the right pick probably. Actually, no, it's not. Scotty Middleton's my pick.
Oh, I like that.
Thank you.
I like that pick. Okay. Let's see. Transfer. Obviously, you probably guessed since I had him on my second team, but I had Olivier Kamwa as the best transfer.
Yeah, I was surprised more people didn't pick him in the actual poll. Ace Baldwin won it as the consensus there, and I think it is between Kamwa or AJ Storr or Ace Baldwin, in my opinion. Those would be the 3 names I would consider. And yeah, I think if you look at track record stuff here, just Michigan under Juwan Howard has done a way better job at featuring players production wise as a first or second option to get them all Big Ten consideration. No matter how good the team is, it's highly likely that Michigan's first or second option will end up receiving some honors at the end of the year. And on paper, Kamwa is that. AJ Storr, like go down the list. AJ Storr on paper might be anywhere from their first to fifth option on that team. Genuinely, like you don't know. And Ace Baldwin, like, God bless him, I think he's a good player. I think there's an adjustment curve for all these VCU transfers under Rhodes, and everybody that picked Ace Baldwin as transfer of the year picked Penn State like in the bottom 2 in this conference. So like, if you're buying that Baldwin's actually that good, then I think you got to buy Penn State to be a little better. And those two things didn't map to me. So give me Kamala. I think Michigan overachieves a little bit. And yeah, I think at the end of the year, we look back and feel pretty stupid that a Juwan Howard first option wasn't included on these lists.
Yeah. My backup pick was Damask.
Oh, wow.
Illinois.
Wow. Buying that hype a lot, huh?
Yeah, I am. I'm also starting to buy, and I know people are probably going to be like, oh, here they go again. They just want to get them on the thumbnail type thing. I'm kind of really starting to buy into this Illinois team. I think people are a little bit too harsh on them.
Interesting.
Just a little bit.
Interesting. Yeah, I think there's a conversation there. Let's save that for a broader conversation. But
Okay.
And then we kind of already did it, but player of the year.
Player of the year, Edey. And because I ranked them, I had Edey player of the year clearly, Terrence Shannon Jr. as who will be the backup player of the year, and Tyson Walker is the third.
Okay. My player of the year is Malik Hall. And before you cut me off, I just think there's a huge jump here. 8 points a game guy. Joey Hauser's shots are available, though. I don't know if you heard that. Joey Hauser's shots are available, and you have to expect there's a huge increase in opportunity for Malik Hall. So my backup, by the way, since you did a couple of backups, my backup would be Jaden Akins. Again, expecting a huge leap. Joey Hauser's shots are available. And I'll go Jackson Kohler third. Another guy, breakout guy, pedigree recruit, and Joey Hauser's shots are available. So let's get to our picks, top 14 in order. What are your Big Ten picks?
Make sure I didn't forget anybody. You know how I do it. I had MSU, Purdue, Maryland, Ohio State, Illinois, Rutgers, Indiana, Michigan, Wisconsin, Iowa, Northwestern, Penn State, Nebraska, Minnesota.
Overwhelmingly, we are very aligned on this. I'm fascinated by this. I wasn't expecting that. I think this offseason, I think you and I like talking every day has kind of led to us like convincing each other of our beliefs in a lot of ways, which is good that we can still disagree like we did today. But yeah, we're pretty on board here. I'll get to mine in a second. I want to nitpick you though. Haven't you voted Purdue ahead of Michigan State all offseason? Like in rankings and stuff, anytime it's come up, haven't you said Purdue's ahead of Michigan State?
I coming into the season, yes.
But so your vote is not a preseason rankings then?
Yeah, I guess technically that goes against the whole preseason ranking thing that I put forward, and I apologize, but I just want to stay first, man.
Just comes down to it. It's you think Michigan State will end up being the best team in the Big Ten?
I mean, look, I saw someone put a vote for Ben Krinkle as the first team as an all Big Ten member. So I feel like if they could show some bias there, I can show some bias.
Okay. I'm just making sure because I honestly was like, am I misremembering this? Because
No. You are correct.
Okay. I respect the flip up then. I respect the honesty. Here's my order, and I do want to analyze it a little bit with where we agree on some of this. But my order is Purdue at 1, Michigan State at 2, Maryland at 3, Ohio State at 4, Illinois at 5, Rutgers at 6, Michigan at 7, Wisconsin at 8, Iowa at 9, Indiana at 10, Northwestern 11, Nebraska 12, Penn State 13, Minnesota 14.
Indiana 10?
So outside of Indiana, aren't you and I pretty much like, I think going down the list, Maryland, Ohio State, Illinois, Rutgers was all in the same order, right?
Yeah.
So 3 through 6, we see everything the same way. Then you and I flipped Michigan and Wisconsin, I believe.
Yeah, and I had Indiana 7.
Okay. So other than being opposite of Indiana, then you and I have Michigan, Wisconsin, Indiana, though, pretty much grouped together.
Yeah, and you had Iowa above Northwestern, right?
I had Iowa above Northwestern, yeah.
And then last 3, Penn State, Nebraska, Minnesota.
I had Nebraska over Penn State, but I think our groupings of everything are the same here.
Yeah.
Minus, I have Indiana 10th, and you have them what, 7th?
Let's see. I do have them 7th. Yes.
Should we have the Indiana discussion?
I just think like the difference between 7 and 10 in this conference, I think you mentioned it, is not going to be that big of a gap, I guess.
I guess let's draw a line out of your rankings, though. How many teams make the tournament? Like, where's the cutoff? Who's the last team in? Who's the first team out?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I have 8 teams making it.
It becomes a lot when you start to do it, you know?
Yeah, it does. Because, like, I don't know. Like,
I think they got 8 last year, though.
Was it?
Yeah, because Michigan and Rutgers missed it, and then the 4 bad teams.
Okay, I think
it might have been 9 because Penn State was in.
Yeah.
How many teams made the tournament last year?
It was Michigan. Oh, sorry, Michigan State, Purdue, Wisconsin didn't make it. Rutgers didn't make it. Penn State, Northwestern.
It was 5. It was so they got 9 in and 5 out last year.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, because it was Ohio State, Michigan, Rutgers,
Illinois,
Nebraska, Minnesota missed it. Everybody else made it.
Got it. Okay.
So 9 was the number last year.
I think I would feel comfortable. I'm gonna say 8. So like the cutoff is Michigan. Michigan's the last team to make it.
Okay.
That means Wisconsin, Iowa, Northwestern. None of those teams make it.
Okay. Yeah, my gut when I did this was 7 make it, but I think realistically we always get more than that. So I'll say 9. I will say it's the same number as last year. 9 teams make it, and I will draw the cutoff after Iowa for me. So that means Rutgers, Michigan, Wisconsin, Iowa all make it as like bubbly teams, and then the 5 big favorites. Yeah, I'm cutting off before Indiana, man. I am. I don't think this team makes any sense. I think there's talent, but I think like you're banking on non-negotiables of Xavier Johnson is healthy and good and has his brain wired the right way all season long. Even if that happens, I think there's still questions. Like, is Trey Galloway actually good? Is he good enough to play 30 minutes at the 2? I don't think so. Does the front court we've gone over the questions before, but more than anything, like I don't think Indiana talent-wise is 10th in this conference, but I think they're going to finish 10th because I think it's train wreck disaster potential. Like I think if something goes wrong, it blows up in disastrous fashion the way Michigan's season did last year, and this year that team is Indiana.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that. I think we mentioned on a previous episode, like we think because of the personalities that like a team like Illinois might have, it could go one way or the other as far as good or bad. I truly believe that Indiana is one of the teams you're gonna have to watch early on, because if it goes bad early on, I don't know if there's like a right the ship type thing. I think it completely just crashes out and burns.
I think there is a world where, while healthy, I'm not predicting injury, I'm predicting healthy, Kel'el Ware and Xavier Johnson are not playing for this team by March 1. I think there is a world where that happens.
Just done.
I think there's a world where Kel'el just like opts out at some point.
Just like I'm just going to the draft.
I mean, everybody's talking like he's like a guaranteed great player for this team, and like everything I've seen is like he wasn't playing in their scrimmage this weekend or whatever that was. Like nobody knows why. Like he just. There's so many concerns based on what we heard from Oregon with this kid. And Xavier Johnson, man, I get it. Like, good player on paper. Where the hell was he last season when Indiana was actually good? Like, and you can say, oh, he was injured. He was injured. Then he wasn't injured anymore. He wasn't playing for Indiana at the end of the season. So I don't know what is happening there, but I don't like it. I think disaster strikes. Okay. I feel pretty good about our alignment there. Fun stuff. One big thing presented by Big B today.
One big thing presented by Big B is that the Lions are here. And I want to shout out my boy Scotty over at questionabletees.com. This, I'm not sure if y'all can read this, but it says villain. Just absolutely elite fire hoodie, extremely comfortable. He sent this to me, and I just want to let him know I appreciate you, Scotty. Go Lions. We're 4-1. We are currently the arguably second or third best team in the NFL. It feels amazing. Ben Johnson's that guy. Team wants to die for Dan Campbell. I probably would die for Dan Campbell too. It's a great feeling. We could find ourselves like I think you texted me yesterday. Is it crazy that this team could win like 13 games?
No,
Like that
not at all.
we live in that world. We live in a world where the Detroit Lions can win 13 football games in an NFL season. We watched this team take 5 years to win 10 games combined. And now we're sitting at 4-1, feeling great, going into two tough road games at the Bucks and then also at the Ravens. But I don't know. I really like the spot we're in. And the fact that we were able to win yesterday too, while missing some pretty good weapons in Brown and Branch and Gibbs, like that was a scary game in my eyes because good teams are able to overcome injuries and guys being out, and we were able to do that. So it's not sipping the Kool-Aid, it's not doing anything, it's just being realistic. This is a really, really good football team, and everyone notices it too. By the way, it's not just Lions fans; like everyone knows now, the Detroit Lions are good.
Yeah. I think it's for real. I think like at minimum, what you're expecting now is like they're in a dogfight playoff game against the best teams in the NFL. Like that's, I'm mentally preparing myself for 3 months from now when that's happening. I don't know. I don't think right now we can say they're the best team in the league. I think San Francisco exists, and I think it goes through them. But I think outside of San Francisco, from what I have seen, every other team is vulnerable. Like if you ask me right now, would I be afraid of playing the Chiefs in the Super Bowl? Of course. Pat Mahomes is Pat Mahomes. But like in my heart of hearts, I believe they could win that game. They already did. They already walked into Arrowhead. Like I think the Lions are a more complete team than the Kansas City Chiefs are. They just have a better player. And I'm going through the other contenders of like, would I be afraid of a Super Bowl against Buffalo? I think it'd be a dogfight. Like, would I be afraid of a Super Bowl against Miami? I think that both teams would score in the 40s and it would be an entertaining dogfight. But I know I shouldn't be projecting the Super Bowl because you got to get through the NFC, and San Francisco's the threat. Like that is the threat to me. I would be very afraid of playing San Francisco. I think they are the only team that I've seen that is as complete as Detroit is, if not more. Like I think it would honestly probably come down to a game where like we would need Jared Goff to go outplay Brock Purdy significantly in order to win that game. Everything else is like San Francisco's got dogs at all the skill positions. They're elite in the trenches. And we're trying to mimic that is how I feel. And we're doing a pretty damn good job. Like we have less big name talent at receiver and running back, but we got players. My dogs are going crazy right now in the background, but that's because they know we talking about some dogs. Detroit is here. Can I do my whole like vibes bullshit real quick on the Lions?
Yes.
So I've never seen a locker room at the professional level in any sport buy in this significantly. And maybe that's because I haven't paid full attention to other locker rooms, but like, I don't know, as a guy who's coached in a lot of locker rooms and been in some as a player, I've always just sort of assumed at the pro level, everybody like kind of just does their job, puts their head down and ignores the collective, like, oh, we're here bullshit together. The Lions like care for each other. And Dan Campbell built that. And I think it matters. Like, I see every time there's a clip of this team in a room together, like they're hanging on every word of their coach and just like not like you can get goosebumps and feel the energy of like we're on the verge of something special. And then you see clips of like David Montgomery was out. He already had a great game. He's just standing on the sidelines, and like Craig Reynolds broke a huge play down to the goal line and was about to run off the field so Montgomery could go back in. And Montgomery's like, stay on the field. Like, you go get your touchdown. Like, there's just a team that like cares and loves each other and is playing for each other right now. And there's something massively powerful about that. But none of that matters if the players themselves aren't just great. And that's the biggest difference here. Like, we can talk like brand new Lions, Campbell built a culture. All of that's true. They also built a roster that is loaded with great players. And that's the most important part. That's what makes everything else work. Penei Sewell is incredible. The offensive line as a group has been phenomenal. David Montgomery, we ripped him out of a divisional rival. And he, like, it doesn't matter if it's 3.5 yards per carry. He's just going to run into a wall over and over again and move the pile. He never gets tired. It's incredible. Amon-Ra St. Brown didn't even play. Jahmyr Gibbs didn't play, but these guys are super talented and like pick their spots and make huge plays. Sam Laporta, I don't even think Sam Laporta is like generational, but like I think Ben Johnson's such a genius that as long as you're a good player with a high IQ and good hands, you're going to look great in this system. And shout out to Sam Laporta and Josh Reynolds, who are just like going to take contact and run through you and catch the ball and get open. And everybody looks like the 10 out of 10 version of themselves because they have good coaches, they have a good system, and there's no weak spots in this lineup anywhere. And when you're on a team with no weak spots, it makes everybody look better. So it's a mix, man. That's what makes this such a special season, is it's a mix of the intangible bullshit, love each other, play for each other with a great leader, mixed with, I think this might be the second most complete roster in the NFL outside of San Francisco. I went through the teams. Who has a more complete roster than Detroit?
Eagles.
More complete?
I mean, not me. I'm saying the people who are that's what they're gonna say. I don't believe it.
I'm really thinking about it, like on a position by position basis. Do I think the Eagles have a more complete roster with less weaknesses than Detroit?
No.
I don't know that I believe that. Like, and I'd be afraid of a night game in Philadelphia, but to be completely honest with you,
they should be afraid of a night game at Ford Field.
I think that game would be in Detroit, is what I'm saying. So I don't know, man. Now it's official. Like you gotta play for a bye. There's a long way to go, but like it's not just like, oh, can we make it's like we need to win every game because we need home field advantage in the playoffs.
Bro, I'm telling you, like I've gone to a lot of Lions games, like a lot in my lifetime. The vibes in Ford Field this season have been absolutely remarkable. It's like it almost makes me emotional sitting watching the game. It's that great.
Yeah, it's incredible. And look, the team I said is the best team in the league, the team that is the biggest threat to me in the league, is stealing our plays 7 hours after our games. Like Ben Johnson's a genius, man.
Ben Johnson's him.
That snap between Jared Goff's legs.
Yeah, like what?
They're just having fun, man. Like he's just sitting at home, like twiddling his thumbs, like, ooh.
Greatness. That'd be great. Have it snap through Jared Goff's legs. That'll be it. That's the one.
It's special to me, man. All right. Shout out to the Lions. That was our first co-consensual one big thing ever. Love it. You all right? I feel like I really was hard on you today with that Michigan State segment. We all right?
Oh yeah, you're good. We're good.
Okay. All right. Good to know. I think we're back tomorrow. There was a chance we were going to skip tomorrow's episode because I got a doctor appointment in the morning. So we'll either see you tomorrow or we'll see you Wednesday, one of the two. Either way, expect some rendition of Guys, and some content from us coming. Have a great day, everyone.